Good morning. Welcome to route number 33 of my Wainwright challenge. Today I'm parked at the car park at Sea Toller. £8.50 for the day. Wow. 6 Wainwrights today, all being well. Rothwaite Fell, Eskpike, Great End, Allen Crag, Glamara and Seathwaite Fell. Fantastic forecast again, so let's get on with it. So as I'm leaving the car park, I'm just looking across the road, and that's Rothwaite Fell. That's the first one of the day. So it's going to be pretty much straight off and up from the gun. So there's a finger post I've been looking for. I'm going to take us up Rothwaite Fell. The landowners very kindly marked the way for us to keep us straight. Some yellow markers here. I take it is had one or two people going up the path there where he doesn't really want them. So initially the path wraps around this fell side, running following the contour really, running parallel with that stream. He's going to loop around in a second and we're going to start climbing up to the top, which is hidden round the shoulder there. So this path is rising quite steeply. It's following a tributary to the main beck, if you look, and we're heading up here. Just looking back down the valley. Look at that. Gosh, we've made our hike quickly. Cars parked down there. Sea Toller. Now this path is indistinct, to say the least. Onto the map there's two paths heading up in this direction. You can see how steep it is, relentlessly steep, but no real path. So you've got to take a bearing and just make your way to the top up here before we shoot right to the summit. Now I think that's the top, the first view of the top of Rothwaite Fell. Isn't that awesome? Absolutely fabulous. I can't wait to get there. Wow, look at that. That's a better view. Rothwaite Fell. I've got to show you this. That's Tarnat Leaves. What a fabulous spot for a wild camp. There we go. So Rothwaite Fell up there. You can see the trig point right at the top now. So that's got to be the top over there. I'll just climb up that outcrop, bag the top. So here we are, Rothwaite Fell. What a fantastic climb that was. Awesome. Even Stanley managed to scramble up here. Oh. Wow. This is simply stunning. So that's our next destination, Glamara. No real path as such, so we're going to kind of meander our way across. Shouldn't be a problem. It's quite obvious where we're going. So my plan is to skirt round Doveness Crag, as you can see there, and try and scramble up the side of Glamara, up the shoulder you can see in the distance. That's the plan. I've just climbed down there. Looking really I could have gone further down and down an easy section. Saying that wasn't too bad. Saved going over there, and now we're skirting around the moor side here. So I'm on the underside now. Now that's the grass chute I decided earlier to take. I am debating whether to go straight up. I think I'll stick with my original plan and see if I can skirt round. So we're at the top of this grass chute, as it were. I'm now heading this way, turning right, and I'm making my final dash, as it were, for the summit. Way to go yet though. So there we are, the first proper sight of the summit. Wow, not so far to go now. Wow, look at that over there. Langdale Pikes, Harrison Stickle and Piker Stickle. Very, very prominent from this angle. A few weeks ago since I did them now. Now this looks like it could be the top of Glamara. The stone shelter, cairn, feels very topish, but the map shows the top to be over there. So I'm going to go to that trig point, sorry, that cairn over there, and I'm also going to go to where the map suggests the top is and make sure I've bagged it. So this is Glamara, this is the top. Recheck the map. This is where it suggests the spot height is. A bit confusing because there's several cairns, but it's not that over there, that is lower. I'm going to go to that one over there anyway, just to get the view. So here we're at the other cairn. Look at that over there. That's Great Gable in the background, and Windy Gap and Green Gable. We were there the other day. Absolutely stunning from this angle. But we've got all these over here to attack yet today. A lot of work still to do. So that's Allen Crag ahead, where we're heading to next. And then behind it, to the left, is Esk Pike, which we're doing afterwards. And then to the right behind it is Great End. And then we're going to head down to Seathwaite Fell, which is down there in the middle, before we head back to the car. So a lot of climbing still to do today. So that's High House Tarn underneath Allen Crag. It's probably just about the low point, I think, maybe, before we start climbing again. So here we are, Allen Crag. There's Glamara over there we've been to. Seathwaite Fell. Great End. There's Esk Pike over there. On to next. So we're at the junction called Esk Hawes. So that's Allen Crag we've just come down. That's Esk Pike, we're going to go up and come back down. And that's Great End, we're going to go up and come back down. And then we're going to head over there down to Seathwaite and head back down to the car. Rocky and craggy, Esk Pike, but there is a very good path so far heading up towards the summit. So that's Scarfell Pike over there. You can see the square summit top. Fantastic. That's Great End there. So that's what we're going to next. We're still scrambling up here, and it is a bit scrambly now, as you can see. This is Esk Pike I'm on. It levels out a bit just as we're approaching the summit of Esk Pike. Not too far to go now. Wow, so here we are at the top of Esk Pike. That's Bowfell over there and Crinkle Crags beyond. I think we're doing them tomorrow. Been a bit of a scramble if you look. So let me quickly look round and show you. We've got Great End, we've got Scarfell Pike over there, and that'll be Scarfell in the background. Quite a few people on Scarfell Pike today. So we're dropping back down to this col down here, then we'll go up Great End. So we're going to go up to the top of this grassy bank here, as you can see, and I believe that's a junction for Scarfell Pike and Great End. So we'll be hanging a right at the top, whereas you'd turn left to go to Scarfell Pike. Yes, so this is a junction I was expecting. That way takes you to Scarfell, this way Great End. As soon as we've done Scarfell twice this year, I think we better go this way, haven't we? Great End. So here we are, Great End. Wow. So the other one over there is slightly lower, you can see from here now, only just Just a quick panel. There's Glamara over there, Allen Crag down there, Esk Pike. Zoom round the mighty Scafell Pike over there, still plenty of people on it. So we're dropping back down now into the path that takes you up to Scafell Pike. I think it's part of the corridor route actually. Pretty certain it is. And we'll hang a left there and we're going to try and find Seathwaite Fell next. So here we are again at the junction between all these hills we've just climbed. So we came off Allen Crag earlier up that path. We're now going to return down this path here, and in the distance over there, the lower fell in the distance, I hasten to add, is where we're heading next. Seathwaite Fell. So we're heading down to Sprinkling Tarn, which you can see down there. At Sprinkling Tarn I'm going to hang a right and follow the fell top to the last summit of the day. This is an extremely well walked path. I believe this is what is known as the corridor route up Scafell Pike from Seathwaite. Pretty certain it is, and consequently there's lots of erosion control, wide paths, so good navigation, difficult to get lost. But I will be turning off this to go over Seathwaite Fell, so it's not going to last for very much longer. So here we are at Sprinkling Tarn. We're going to skirt round the other side of the tarn off the main track, head up to Seathwaite Fell. So that's Great End up there, Sprinkling Tarn down here. We're following a very, very faint path, and hopefully which will take us to Seathwaite Fell. So the map shows a number of small tarns that will pass en route to the summit, so this is reassuring. I don't think it's too far really. So that little outcrop of rocks in the foreground, probably half a mile or so away, I would say was the top of Seathwaite Fell. So just approaching the summit now, a little bit of a scramble to get to the top, and I'll be at Seathwaite Fell. Yeah, Seathwaite Fell at last. So that's where we've come from. Great End, Esk Pike over there, Allen Crag. So zoom round, Glamara. You can't see Rothwaite, that's hidden. So just been having a chat with this chap who's disappeared about the best way off this mountain, and we've both decided we're probably going to risk dropping off the steep side rather than retracing our steps. So you can see it's almost vertical, but I seem to have picked up a route. There's lots of people on that footpath below, as you can see, and I've picked up this little rugged footpath here heading down, so won't be too long before I'm on the proper path. So actually it's not such a bad way down. Actually it was I've been down a lot worse, put it that way. Luckily I found that faint path at the top to take me there. So back on track, head back to the car now, won't be long. So I'm nearly back at the car, and I've just spied what I think is Rothwaite Fell, the first of the day. Looks remarkably similar to it, doesn't it? Been an awesome day. Hi, welcome to route 33 of my Wainwright challenge.
Today's Monday the 21st of March, and I parked at Seatoller National Trust car park. £8.50 for the day. Anyway, the first hill of the day, the first Wainwright, was Rothwaite Fell, and I have to say it was possibly the most difficult of the lot, albeit probably one of the lower for today. Once you start climbing pretty much straight away, quite quickly, and the path soon becomes indistinct and pathless for quite a long time. Very steep, very grassy, very rocky, all the way up, really, up to the tarn. Now once you get to the tarn, there's a slight path that you can follow pretty much all the way to the top, which is bizarre, really, because the map shows a path to the tarn and then no path afterwards. So there you go. I have to say, fabulous top, like a boulder, that type top where you've got a bit of a scramble to get onto the top. Thoroughly enjoyed the top, thoroughly enjoyed the views. Now you can see Glamara from there, and a crag ahead that I decided I'd skirt round. I think I possibly skirted too high and ended up having to climb down a bit of a cliff. But I did skirt round it, and it was the right thing to do. It is pathless, although there are traces of various paths that people have done the same thing. I chose to choose a grass chute, if you like, to ascend Glamara from the rear, which again I think was the right thing to do, because once I got up to the plateau at the top of the grass chute, it was a very, very grassy ascent to the top, or what I thought was the top. I mean, there was three cairns, I think. Anyway, I found the top I think it was the middle cairn. At the top, the way I chose, I think, was probably the best way up Glamara, the way I did. Now I hasten to add, it took an age to climb the first two because of the various pathlessness and severity, really, of the walk. After this point, it's pretty much straightforward. He says, I'll come to the last one. Yeah, so from Glamara you can see the track to Allen Crag. There's another crag in between, forget its name, and you're pretty much following rocky paths, still ascending, all the way up to Esk Howe, which is the col between the Esk Pike, Allen Crag and Great End. So you visit that a couple of times. So once you get up there, obviously you can see the various peaks. Great views of Scafell Pike, and there's been great views today of Great Gable and Green Gable, Windy Gap. Some stunning scenery today. So the climb up Esk Pike was pretty much straightforward. There is a path, a little bit of very mild scrambling. Great top, relatively steep, I'd say. Retrace your steps, very, very straightforward. The high point of the day is Great End, 910 metres. It was probably the easier one easier than Esk Pike, albeit higher. Now 910 metres, so we're only 4 metres off of Monroe, so you're pretty high. Again, there was a couple of cairns. Now the true top is the cairn in the rocky, the rockier part, not the cairn to the left, which is set on its own. All very, very straightforward. You follow the path down back to Esk Howe. You then pick up a path where you can follow it all the way down to Sprinkling Tarn. Now the map doesn't show a path to the top of Rothwaite Fell. There is a path, there's a faint path, and it does take you all the way to the top. Lovely, actually quite pleasant walk, considering what you've been up today. All of a sudden you've got a relatively easy section. Now I decided to drop straight down the side of Rothwaite Fell. Now, I'd bumped into another chap up there, and we were discussing going down, whether to retrace our steps or go down the side. He went ahead of me because I stopped for a sandwich and a coffee, he chose to take a different line to me. I didn't realise at the time, but after I set off, I found a very slight trace of a path which I followed. So I went off the side at a different place to the previous chap. He left near a small tarn, very small puddle tarn. I went further right to that, and where I picked up this path, and it was absolutely fabulous. It took me all the way back down to the proper path. It was steep, but it wasn't too steep, and it followed like a dry stream, if you like. So I got down to the path very, very comfortably, and it was only way further down when I looked back I noticed that the chap who'd set off before me was a good mile behind me. So clearly the route he took off the top sent him in a different direction, let's say. Stunning scenery today, absolutely fabulous. Days like today are why you go walking. It was 13.5 miles. It took me just under 8 hours, and there was 4,255 feet of ascent.